Until just recently, I lived for the last 11 years in the state of Arizona. In that time living in Arizona, I found myself, I just fell in love with the state. There were so many things about Arizona that I actually fell in love with. The desert, the cactus, sunsets were absolutely beautiful. Believe it or not, the heat, mountains, but most importantly, mountain biking. See, over the years, I spent hours on the bike, riding over rocks, down the side of mountains. There's just something about the challenge of riding up the side of a trail and the seclusion of where was so good for my own personal soul. Now, during that time in Arizona, I also had the great privilege of starting a church. When I look back at the journey required to start this church, I find so many similarities, believe it or not, between church planting and actually mountain biking. I want to take some time today and just talk a little bit about the journey and what you learn on the journey. The first thing is this: the journey is oftentimes more important than the destination. See, God is at work in you. He's doing something in you so that He can do something through you. And sometimes as a leader, as a pastor, as a church planner, we get so focused on the destination and how we define success that we oftentimes neglect the journey that God uses to actually get us there. Take time, enjoy the journey that God is taking you on. He's writing a story that's unique to you and that's unique to your church. The second similarity I found is that at every intersection, there's an easy way and the hard way. But oftentimes the hard way is the most rewarding way. Don't be afraid to go where it's difficult. God will be there with you. He will guide you through it. And in the end, I think you'll find that it's actually more rewarding. The next thing is desperation births mistakes. It's in those moments where we are hard pressed. We feel this sense we've got to perform or we've got to make a decision and we got to do it now. That in that immediacy, we oftentimes may make mistakes that end up bringing more pain in the end than reward. The next thing is that boldness pays. Sometimes the one thing that needs to take place in order to move the church forward, to grow as a leader, to take that next ground, to establish the church, move them from a portable situation into a more permanent situation, it requires this willingness to face risk. And as you learn to grow in your ability to do that, you find that the other side of it is so much more fun as well. Just around the bend, you can be certain that there's always fresh horse pucky on the trail. You never see it there, you don't know it's going to be there, but as you come around the corner, there's always something there that you didn't expect. And oftentimes it's stinky, oftentimes it's messy, but it doesn't mean that we just don't go on that trail. The hardest parts are often, too, the loneliest parts. That's true whether or not you're out mountain biking, and it's true whether or not you're church planting. The reality is that church planting is lonely, and that's why we need to surround ourselves with people that can pray for us, love us, guide us, encourage us on the journey. The other thing I came to realize that climbs are always followed by downhills, and downhills are always followed by climbs. In other words, you're going to have these seasons, this ebb and flow, where things are going really well, smooth. It's like things just happen and it's easy to see them. Then you're going to follow it up with seasons that are just challenging, difficult. You're slugging it out day in and day out just to see a little bit of progress. But I guarantee on the other side of that, you're going to have this other season again where it's easy, fun, flowy. Hard climbs are always followed by easy downhills. Downhills are always followed by hard climbs. Next thing I came to realize is that balance and momentum get you to your destination. It's learning how to keep things in check, not getting too extended over here or extended over here, and learn to ride the momentum in order to carry you from one hill to the next hill. Next is that confidence is important, but cockiness is the thing that actually gets you hurt. You want to have confidence, not in yourself, but confidence in who God is and how God has wired you and what God is doing in you and through you and to establish this new work. But when we get cocky and thinking about that it's about us and that we're the reason why the church has been successful, or we're the reason why we've been able to make the progress that we have, it's going to lead to seasons of pain. It's also important to stop and take a breather, so you learn to enjoy the view from time to time. I find this is actually one of the most difficult pieces for me personally as a leader. I like to get to the next thing. When one goal has been accomplished, I already know the next 2 or 3 goals out in front of us that we need to go after. And so sometimes taking the opportunity to slow down, enjoy the moment, is really far and few between. What I found, I needed to do that, but more importantly, not only did I need to do that, but my people needed to do that. You need to slow down, take time to rest, take time to enjoy and celebrate what God has done in the moment before you move on to the next. Also found that the journey is oftentimes shaped by the millions of small decisions that are made on the fly. You can't be prepared for everything. You just got to trust in your ability, trust in the practice, the time frame, all that you've already done so far, that God is there, He's guiding you, He's put key people in next to you that will be there to coach you, encourage you along the way as well. It's also fun. Sometimes we can forget in the stress that comes with church planning that this is a fun thing. It is something unique, and some of the greatest stories of life change happen in the midst of it. Also find that you can get hurt. You can heal, but then you can also do it all over again. Mountain biking, I've had some of the most horrific crashes you can ever imagine. I've cracked 3 ribs. I've taken off all the skin off my knees. It's painful, but the reality is those moments, they heal, and you can oftentimes get back on the bike. In the church world, you're gonna be hurt. There's things gonna happen. People are gonna say stuff. People will not perform the way that you expected them to perform. People won't even fulfill their commitments. And in the midst of those moments, it's hurtful. But you can get over that hurt and continue to lead well. The things that you don't see that are coming are oftentimes what cause you to crash as well. Next thing is practice makes you better. Just continue to perfect and get better at being a pastor. Grow in your leadership ability. Grow as a communicator. Grow as a leader of your staff. Continue and commit to that process. And lastly, what I found is that what you love doing can also hurt you, but don't let that stop you.